Sitting here with Pablo Artigas. Day after Dreams Day 2023. What first brought you to electronic music?
Wow. Okay, so growing up, I was uh, I was a little brother. I have two older brothers, and they were part of like the '90s rave scene. And damn, I was probably like 11 or 12 when I first like heard what this music was, and uh, but it was really because my older brothers, they would bring back records and stuff when we used to go to raves. We're talking about like 94, 95, like
So
96.
we're talking
Yeah,
early stuff.
it was stuff that like unrecognizable compared to like the stuff that we're
Right.
listening
It
to
was
now.
it was the early
Yeah,
stuff. They're
it was
using a lot of
very. I don't even think they had a genre for trance or anything back then. It was just kind of like just club.
club music,
Club.
techno. A lot of people just call it techno.
Yeah, it was just techno, rave, club. But that's kind of like where I first got my first taste in like what this sound was. And then I don't know. I think my brother came back one year from he went to some rave like in like the outskirts of Jersey because they were still very underground until like some big party happened where unfortunately a lot of kids died because of the overdose. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
this was underground shit. So then they outlawed raves in New Jersey basically. So that kind of was the end of that. But before that, you know, the ravers would come back with like souvenirs. And one year my brother brought back this old CD called Trance World. And that's, I think, the first time I ever heard anything by like, probably like Tiesto. There used to be like old DJs like Pleasurehead or something, The Dever. I can't remember the names of the tracks, but I just love what that was sounding like, and it
Yeah,
just sounded
that-
so epic. And then from then on, it was kind of like, I started finding out house. Not so much techno. The techno to me was always like not my first choice. It was always house and trance after that. But yeah, it was sick.
And what kind of led you into starting to make the music? I mean, your brothers influenced you obviously and brought you
Right,
the
right.
records and brought you that
Right,
sound. What set it off and said, I need to be doing this. This is what I want to do.
So my brother Maudi, he was the one that really was influential in this. In the case that he was actually started producing first. So I saw that,
Got
and he
it.
was also a phenomenal DJ. And he don't do it no more, but every now and then he does it as a hobbyist. But I picked up really quick from seeing him work on the computer, and I was watching him do this stuff, not knowing what it was, but I just found it so fascinating. I was like, I want to do it. I was like, I was that eager little brother that wanted to like do what Big Brother was doing.
You wanted to do what he was doing.
Yeah, right.
It was
yeah,
cool, and
yeah,
you liked
it was
it.
cool. I wanted to hang out with him and stuff, and they never let me go to the raves because I was too young. So it was like, oh, fuck.
It was
You know?
your way of kind of experiencing that.
Right, yeah. And finally, I got old enough to have my own computer and all that stuff. Because back then when we were kids, we all shared a computer.
Right,
Like
they were
it was
very
just
expensive.
Yeah, it was very expensive. You had like an old Packard Bell.
Packard Bell.
We had one that it was top of the line at the time. 5.1 gigabytes of hard drive
Oh,
space.
yeah.
56K.
Probably bought
Had
it at Best
120
Buy.
megabytes. Yeah, we bought it at Sears.
Or Sears, yeah,
Yeah,
there
they're out of
you go.
business now, man. And yeah, so that's how I got into it. But it wasn't really first with electronic music. I just liked, I didn't understand it. I wasn't DJing or something back then. But what I wanted to create was video game music.
Gotcha.
Like games for like video games like Final Fantasy specifically. I learned how to play like all like the themes and stuff. I was already like kind of messing with piano at the time, like, mainly at school. And I don't know. I saw my brother doing that with electronic music, and I saw him like create these cool sounds with a piano roll. And I was like, I want to make video game music with this.
Right.
So I just started diving into it and learning it, playing by ear. I never was good at reading music. I just learned how to like listen to it a lot and and like play it by ear,
Right.
you know. And then eventually, with enough practice, I would figure it
Well,
out.
and that's musical intuition.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then that's how like I got into music production. And then shortly in high school, me and like my 2 or 3 buds, we kind of like established like our own little band, and
Okay.
we were just slowly making like Final Fantasy covers, Mario
So
covers.
completely inspired by video
completely
game.
inspired by video games, and then.
So the 16-bit sounds.
Right,
and
yeah,
the-
but we were, so my one buddy, he was a trumpet player, my other buddy was a flute player, I played piano, but I also made like the beat, you
Got
know?
it.
So like, it was a very weird mix, but it was very cool.
Well,
It was very cool for the time.
It sounds like that really opened your eyes and like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
is this is something that it's not only achievable.
Right.
This is something that I can do, and I can do it now.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what it is. I'm making music.
Right, like it allowed me to kind of create like express myself with, at that time, video game music, but like to write it as well, use the programs to like construct the sound, to make it like what I heard in my head compared to like what I figured out from the original score of the piece, to like
Right.
make my own little version of it, I guess. Like I would always add like little notes here and there to like add a little differentiation, but I never meant to like release it or anything around. Like now that I think about it, I don't even know where those files are.
Right. But
Like
it was.
they're lost to time now.
But it really that's how you learn,
Yeah.
and that's how you grew.
Hmm.
And so you start producing other music.
Yeah.
When did you start working with the guitar?
18th birthday. The only reason why, I was at a party at a friend's house, and I saw some dude playing the guitar there, and he was like singing and wooing all the girls, and I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah, that's it. It's
It's fully motivated by that.
Yeah.
But then after that, I never had lessons playing guitar. I basically just picked it up and started playing on my own, started strumming. Then I started learning how to read guitar tab. And then from there, I was like, okay, like practicing the chords, getting the muscle memory right.
understanding the rhythm and the chords
Yep.
and how the progressions
It's a
work.
very, very, very cool instrument. Next to the piano, guitar is like my second favorite. But hands down. Hands down. It's sick. You can make anything on a guitar. Just like a piano. You can almost make any kind of rendition on a piano or whatever that's made like on rock or whatever.
Right.
You could like recreate on that. Or in a classical piece, anything. It's great. But with a guitar, you can do the same. And like, so I try to. I don't think I ever did the video game stuff though with guitar, but that was really when I started now to dive into electronic music, which is just basically something I started doing as like I grew older. You know, go to clubs, you grow up, you want to go out to like bars and
Right,
stuff.
you want to go meet the girls.
Right,
and,
like you
know.
you get into the scene and you're just like, oh, this is more than this.
Right,
You know what I mean?
it's more than just the music.
Yeah, right.
There's a whole
It's
lifestyle.
You start to mature, right? Yeah, it's a lifestyle. That's the thing. And then from there, just I don't know, man. Just
Keeps going.
Just-
So
yeah,
okay,
the
so what
sky's
was
the
your
limit.
the first release,
very-
first track that you had that
Cool.
you actually released to the public, not the one you got signed.
Right,
the
right.
first one you released to the public that got you that positive feedback that,
Oh,
that
man.
made you feel like, oh,
this
yeah.
Yeah, if you dig deep enough in my SoundCloud, I'm talking about you're gonna have to dig like I think to the very bottom of my SoundCloud, the public stuff. You're gonna find this track called Beach Guitar. All right.
Okay.
And it never got released in the stores or whatever. It was just something I uploaded to SoundCloud. And to this day, I just leave it up there as a reminder to be like, damn, this is where I came from, and this is where I'm
Right.
at now.
Okay.
And it sounds like shit. If you listen to it now, you're like, this isn't Pablo. How in the heck? Why did he release this? It sounds horrible. But it's just like a reminder it's almost like a time capsule.
Gotcha.
Right? And I left it on there just for that reason alone. And then if you scroll up, you start seeing like more of the progression as you go. And it's, again, most of the stuff that's down there is they weren't like they weren't like on Beatport or like through a label or something like that. But I kept them there to just like, as a reminder, like to be like, yo, this is where I came from type shit.
Well, and one of the...
Ooh, I like
we're
that.
popping bottles over here.
Ooh. You might have to, sure. Is there booze in that or no? Yeah. Oh, it's fucking sorry. Cheers. I like that.
So the...
Ooh, excuse me.
The first track that got signed, the first track that got big attention, what led up to that? And I mean, everyone knows, hardware. What really, what got you there? What got you over that hump into?
So, I wouldn't say it's my first release, because I considered my first track that got put on Beatport to be like my first actual release, just because it was like widely available everywhere at that time.
Right.
This was an old remix that I did for a buddy of mine in Germany. He used to go by the name Project Rebeat, and I remixed a song of his called Berlin Lights, and they got released to some label in Italy called Queen of Club Records. And again, it's nothing special. It's one of those tracks that I wish I could remove from the internet because it ain't good. It ain't good. But I was proud of the fact that it was good enough for the label to take it. And again, it's like serving as like a reminder of where I came from. But when it comes to like that one track that was truly something that opened the door for me, it was probably my track Stargazer. Right. Stargazer, because that was the one track that introduced me to Mike Foyle. He was almost like a mentor to me. Gotcha. Mike Foyle, I was always a big fan of his music. At the time, I didn't even know he ran the label that I sent it to, which is Vaulted Recordings. And he just believed in my track and in my sound, and he just, like, in a healthy way, just tried to encourage me more and more. And that to me served as a big win, because it was the first time that somebody on a higher level that I like respected and looked up to like actually cared.
Right. They took the time
to
say, hey, let me help you with this because I think it's awesome.
Right. And it got to the point where we developed a pretty good relationship, and he made me the A&R for Bolted Recordings. And it kind of showed me later on then how to like the culture that should be applied. That should be applied when it comes to like running a label.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like it's more like that nature that it's nurturing the artist to excel rather than just swatting away.
Right. You're trying to either make a buck by getting as many artists in and out as possible, and seeing what it's like. You throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. Right. Or you're gonna, get your artist, let them mature, let them grow, give them encouragement, give them the tools that they need. And it sounds like that's really what happened with you.
Like to add that at that time, Bolted Recordings was a sub-label from Blue Soho, and they were actually like very, very helpful in my development because they kind of just believed entirely into what I was doing.
Right.
Like they believed in like my sound. They believed in the just like the direction when I didn't believe in it myself, right?
Gotcha.
So like they were that assurance that we were talking about earlier. Like it's very hard for myself to convince myself that my own work is good.
I understand that.
You usually have to have somebody else assure you that it's good, and they were really they had a good ear for that,
That's great.
And it was that's kind of like the upbringing when it came to that, and from there my most successful track is probably Patterns Like These, the one that I did with FSOE UV.
Right.
That's the track that most people know me for. Yeah, man. I still can't believe I made that shit with a broken MIDI controller.
Right. I remember you telling that story on stream that was broken, and you play one note and he'd play something completely different.
To this day, I can't really tell you what was the original key signature that I used to write that track.
You just don't know. It just
it was insane.
As long as you've still got it, so you can recreate it. There you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So what led to the development? I mean, you've got this encouragement. You got a couple tracks going. You wanted to form your own label. Why?
My own label.
Yeah. What led to that?
There's a couple things. The main thing was it was supposed to be my way of sticking it to the man in a way.
I gotcha.
It started off as a rebellious move. It also served as a backup plan. But most importantly, it served as a way for me to pass it down for the next generation, for the next generation of producers and artists. To establish like a home for that person that's kind of like me, that has like this unique, cool, weird, different sounding music, but can't find a home for it.
Right.
Like something that's risky, something that's passionate, something that's it's not cut from the same cloth as like
it's outside
the
the mainstream, so it doesn't quite fit.
Right, like like when I was telling Xander earlier, I was saying like what I want is like the producers to send me their experiments.
Right.
Like I want them to send me their things that they're not sure about. It might sound good enough for individual identity, or it might not. It depends, but like at the very least, I can assure you that I'll listen to it.
Yeah, no, that's
and
you know how hard it is to get a producer's ear, to get somebody who's been there and who's gone through a lot of these things,
right,
and get there, and you do it for free for everybody,
right? And
you're trying to give back. I mean, it feels like
in the end, that's what it's about. That's what it's really about. It's about giving back to the community, giving back to the culture, to the genre, to whatever this trance shit is, right? Or whatever this dance music stuff is. In a way, we're only one like speck of dust in this whole genre of like of all sorts. We're all different, right? And it's like your way to almost like immortalize yourself in this realm, right? And that's like a huge power and responsibility that like most producers don't even think about. It's just more like, I gotta make a track and fucking just get it released. Like, no, man, it's like that shit's up there for life.
Right.
Like someone's gonna download that shit. Someone's gonna put it on YouTube. You're gonna make a fan somehow. Maybe it might be not now. It might be 20 years from now. Who knows? And they're gonna find it, and they're gonna love it, and they're gonna try to seek you out more, right?
And that's
that's the power of the internet.
Yeah, and it's great. So COVID, how did COVID come to affect how you were streaming, how you were releasing your music? I know it changed how you were doing things as far as.
COVID basically developed my streaming thing out of over like a necessity. It was literally came out of necessity. COVID almost destroyed my life in the sense of in financials because it basically cut my job off completely.
Right.
And I was doing web design at the time, and no one was spending money. Obviously, there's no one wanted promotions.
There was nothing going on.
Yeah, nothing. The whole world shut down. And the music realm with the gigging, well, every club on earth closed down. Right. So it was like no one was going out, no one was doing anything, and luckily, the world of streaming was brought to my eyes, and it was the greatest thing that could have possibly ever. It was the biggest blessing in disguise. I think streaming is one of those things that it was like one of the few refuges of magic left in music. Because everything else seems so serious and so almost like orchestrated, so rigid and like this. But in Twitch, and I mean, look, we're all here now because of it.
Right, exactly.
Like, literally.
It's the literal power of the internet.
This is literally the proof is in the pudding.
We've got, a whole house full of people sitting here in Long Beach, California.
Yep.
We all went to Dream State.
Because of the streams.
Yeah, because of
Because
the
of
streams.
streaming.
Because we have a shared passion for this music.
Yeah, it's truly breathtaking. And again, to me, I consider it like magic.
Yeah.
It's almost like that bit of magic that's still left amongst like the music world, like the real heads. You know what I mean?
Right.
The true fans, or like just fans in general, and very innovative and just innovative like people that want to make this more than just like a business.
Right.
Because we know it's a business.
Of course,
But doesn't mean we can't. That doesn't mean we have to be. You can't have fun.
Right. And it doesn't. It doesn't mean you have to be cutthroat. It doesn't.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
You can be a human being.
Right. You can be a human being. You can bring it. You can break it back down to the level where it becomes friendly again. It becomes just in general just a good time.
Right. You don't take the humanity out of the music.
Right. Yeah, man. And that's the one thing I truly miss. Well, now we're getting it back because I personally believe streaming is going to be the main way that most people consume music or entertainment in the future. Yeah. Right now, this is still just the very beginning. It might seem like it's not, but it is.
Infancy.
Yeah.
I believe that this has changed, not will change, has changed already. And
oh my God, you caught that on video. Shit.
But I've seen that transformation happen.
Yeah, man.
And, it's here now.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Wait, what?
This track. This is his track.
This is your track?
Well,
What's it called?
It's Linkin Park, but like.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was about to say, it's like, this sounds like Linkin Park. Okay. Wait, hold on. Back to the interview. Hold on.
Smart idea.
Yeah.
He might still be alive. Can you do that? Smart idea. Please? You miss Justin.
All right, I've got two more questions for you.
All right, good. We got two more questions.
Sorry.
It's all good.
You had no idea. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I did. No, we wanted it this way.
Yeah.
No, I said some shit.
Fine.
It's okay.
It's not going on the internet, or it might go. I don't know.
I don't know. We're just messing around.
We're just having some fun. Yeah, man.
I'm trying to give Pablo an idea of how I interview somebody because
I like his interviewing style.
I don't ask the normal
You should do
questions.
dead next. You should do dead
I'm gonna
next.
smoke next.
Yeah,
Oh, you gotta smoke that first. Yeah, smoke that first, and then.
Then we're gonna.
All
All right. I got two more questions.
Yeah, two more questions.
First question. Story of Mew. When you released that album, when it finally hit, when you finally were sending out the physical CDs, you're getting everything ready. When did it hit home that this is your debut album? What does that feel like? Does it feel like people are like, oh, it's my baby, and what did it feel like to you?
To me, it was magical. It was like I can't believe that it finally got released. Like it was something that. To be honest with you, I've been working on it for over 10 years.
Right. Some of your tracks
were
dated.
It was very important for me to release this album, and I think it was even more important for me to release it on my label because I wanted to have to help immortalize the label. Now I know that there's CDs flying around the world that are significant, and it implies individual identity exists. We're here to stay, type shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what went through my mind when it got released, it was finally I can tell people the story of like my upbringing, because people think it's just like almost like some kind of like science fiction type like made up mumbo jumbo or whatever that I came up with a story of Mew. But it's really like a story told in a metaphoric way of like my upbringing, how I came up in the music world. And through all like the struggles and all the ups and downs that I went through, to then be leaving me off at the end of the story of Mew to look onward and upward to see what else is out there. What's the next move, right? And the fact that I was able to finally release that and like put it out there into the world, once the CDs came in, that's when it really hit. Like when I opened up that fucking box and I pulled that shit out, I was like, oh my God, it's on. Because by that time, I already had half the box sold already.
You're right.
So, like, when the box came in, I was like, holy shit, half of these are going to go away anyway. And that's when it hit me, because immediately after that, I was putting them in the envelopes, and off they went.
Right.
And and the coolest thing about that, it really showed me, well, it taught me rather. It taught me physically how to ship stuff globally. It taught me how to. I picked up a bunch of brand new skills from it and all that stuff. So it was more than just the music at that point. It was bigger than the music. It was now more, became the label, became more the entity. And that to me is really cool, because all in all, it all spins back to like the message that individual identity holds. And it's, if you're an artist out there and you want to release an album and you're not sure if it's going to be good with such and such label, maybe considering sending it to us. If it's something that you think we'll be able to push, and we have now the resources to do it. It was kind of like a way to like kind of level up, to grow up a little bit.
Right.
Essentially what the story is about. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's full circle, man.
It is. It's like a full circle thing, and it's again, it's a lot to explain, but that's the nitty gritty of it all. It was like finally a way. I felt like I was doing big boy shit.
There you go.
Like I felt like I was doing like for real, like big boy shit. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
last
man.
question. If you had one piece of advice for someone who is just coming up and their big brother's got those records and is playing that stuff off SoundCloud, and
Right.
and they're hearing it, they're getting influenced, and they're starting to pick up EDM, and they're starting to feel like maybe they should be making that music. What's the one thing you would tell that person, or yourself
Right.
at that age? What do you wish someone would have told you?
Honestly, I think if for instance, let's say I had a time machine to go back and tell this to my younger self, let's say, right? I would have probably told myself to look at the scope of the music world that you see now, and try to find your path in that space. Because being the artist or the DJ is great, and you should always pursue that path, especially if you're like musically inclined. Go towards it, but you're gonna come across a crossroad where it's gonna start to split, and that's when you start to decide, do I want to continue the artist path, or do I want to be part of the culture?
Right.
No one told me that at all. The only thing that I was ever told was like, just follow the artist path, be the DJ, be the performer, be this or that. No one ever told me about, you don't have to do that. You could still be involved in music as heavy and as influential.
Correct.
By being a promoter or being an organizer, being a manager, maybe you're a people's person. You have to be passionate, if not more passionate about music, to believe in that.
Right.
And all that stuff helps you believe in the movement. If anyone comes up to an artist and they truly believe in them, that just empowers them to go further. You know what I mean? To really like push mountains.
Amazing.
Right, like that. But you only really can recognize that if you learn to differentiate between like what path you need to take. Again, so if you're very musically inclined and if you just really enjoy making music, go for the music route. And if you go that route, you have two choices. You make money that sells. You make music that sells, or you make music that expresses your artistic ambitions, right?
Right.
One is you just make the music of the trends, and you build until you basically just, you take off. There'll be a lot of people helping you because it's just commonplace. Now, if you go the artistic route, you have to understand that you're going to be doing a lot of things yourself.
Right.
You're going to be doing a lot. You're going to be going against the grain constantly. But at the very least, you're expressing yourself and you're pleasing the one person you need to be pleasing, which is yourself when it comes to your art.
Right.
And eventually you're gonna build up steam. But do not get discouraged. It's supposed to take long. That's something I wish somebody else told me too, because I used to get burnt out all the time, all the time, because I was always like jumping between making leaps and bounds, signing on big labels, getting big releases and stuff like that, and wondering where the hell is my career going? Why isn't it exploding, right?
Right.
And I did get opportunities, of course, but like, why wasn't it like blowing up, right? And that's because I had the artistic and musical talent, but I didn't have that other side that was required.
Gotcha.
That the people behind it.
Right. You didn't
Because
have
you
those
need
people.
them. You need them. You can't do everything yourself.
Right.
And that's really it. So like, pursue further, find your path, and stick with the thing that you like to do. That's probably the best way I could explain to somebody
No,
that.
that's fantastic advice.
Yeah, man.
So tell the people, where can they find you? Where can they find your music?
Okay, you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pablo_Artigas. At SoundCloud, Pablo, I think, _Artigas. Spotify, Pablo Artigas, and all socials, I believe, the same thing. At Pablo Artigas Official, that's the one for socials. So there's a couple. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you, man. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
Interview